The students that have arrived at this point back to South Africa, currently in the Polokwane in Limpopo from Wuhan. 3 buses carrying South Africans who were repatriated from Wuhan have arrived at the Ranch Hotel in Polokwane. The buses were led by a convoy of police, emergency and military vehicles. Wuhan is believed to have been the origin of COVID-19 pandemic in December. They all tested negative to COVID-19 in China, but are going to be quarantined at the hotel for 21 days just as a precaution. The repatriation was arranged after calls from South Africans and their families for government to act. The group voiced their intention to return to South Africa following the coronavirus outbreak in China. All right, well, and as I did promise earlier on, we are now joined in studio by Nomfundo Motshabi, who is a family member, the mother actually of one of the people who were evacuated from China and have just arrived in South Africa. A very good afternoon to you, Sis Nomfundo. Thank you so much for joining us here on SABC.
Afternoon to you too, Sissy.
Just as a start, I mean, how do you feel about the fact that, your son is here now and sort of out of what people would call the danger zone, I suppose? How are you feeling at this point?
Yeah, this morning around 11 o'clock, I think when they arrived, when they were just embarking the SAA flight, I was so emotional. I even called my mother. We video called with my mother, and she was crying on the phone. She was crying. She was like, she couldn't believe that he is finally here. So it was so many mixed emotions, crying, and then people calling, trying to find out, did you see the news? Are you watching? Like, it was just mixed emotions. And I literally spoke to Kamu over a video call as well, and they told me that they just arrived, and I was telling him that, yeah, I just saw you on the news that you have arrived. So yeah. It's quite emotional.
I imagine at this point you won't really be traveling to Polokwane. As you can see, there's such a high police presence. There's no way you can even enter the ranch. But in terms of conversation, as you say, you were video calling. How is he doing? How's he coping?
He initially, when yesterday, before they left Wuhan, when I spoke to him while they were still waiting at the airport, he was saying to me that, as much as I will miss studying at Wuhan, I just can't wait to go home. Like it's like a dream come true. Like, I'm excited. I can't wait to see. I know that I'll be quarantined for 21 days, but I just can't wait to see you guys back home. But the most important thing was for him to get out of Wuhan. So he was really excited last night. And then this morning, when they arrived, we video called just a little bit because his battery was dying. So he told me that, finally we are back home, and I'm so excited. Yeah. I can't wait to see you. This 21 days must just be over, and then I just want to come back and see you guys back home. Yeah.
And what have you, as a family, been feeling about, the coronavirus? I mean, for some of us who are not in any way affected by it, in terms of any family members or friends, in any case being in Wuhan or having been affected by it, we kind of just talk about it. Some people even joke about it. But for you, it's more serious because, your family member is sitting in what was, what's seen as the epicenter of where the virus is from. So can you just talk to us about the sort of fears, I suppose, that you would have had as a mother as well, and that your mother, the grandmother would have had in terms of the coronavirus? Because for you, it wasn't just something that you kind of laugh about or joke about. It was something that is a possibility in your life because of your son being right there in Wuhan, China.
Yes, in the beginning, when the coronavirus broke out in Wuhan, I remember we, as a family, we spoke about this, including the relatives and everything and everyone. And I remember my mother saying that, I don't believe that my grandson is still in Wuhan. While after this, the coronavirus broke out. And remember, the Kamu had already graduated in January. So we were panicking, saying that, these kids, they were supposed to be back after the graduation. Yeah. So you can imagine the frustration that we're having, like it's saying that, wanting to blame whoever, that we wanted them back as soon as they graduated. Now this coronavirus is spreading out throughout, especially in Wuhan. And we were so nervous, saying that, can't the government take them out of Wuhan? Because that was the main concern now, because seeing that they were under lockdown, there was nothing we could do literally as a family. We spoke about it and people made jokes about it, but for us it wasn't a joke. It was a reality, knowing that
yeah.
they're at the epicenter of where the coronavirus broke out. So it was really frustrating. But after some time, as we get to learn about the virus and everything, you know, South Africa will be South Africa. You know, they say that there's no chill in Mzansi. So people will be making jokes about it, and you get used to it. As the more you learn about the virus, the more you understand what is happening, you know.
Yeah.
So after that, then we accepted, and then when we heard that they were coming back, it was like a big breakthrough.
Yeah.
We were so happy that finally somebody is doing something. So, and we are still excited. This morning when we saw them, I was even crying myself when I saw
there's
them.
this, there's a 21-day quarantine,
Yes.
and no doubt that there are measures and everything to make sure that everyone is well taken care of at the ranch, and that the quarantine goes well as according to the plans. But in terms of the fact that all these people will have to be isolated from their friends, from their families, I do understand that they are able to use their phone and devices, all of that. But I'm sure it can get a little bit tricky in terms of psyche. Being quarantined for 21 days. How will you sort of, I suppose, support your son as he sort of has to be going through those 21 days? It's almost sort of like being in a prison that you didn't really do anything, but there you are, stuck somewhere and you can't really move. I mean, I can imagine that it does affect one.
You know, what we did back then when they were still in Wuhan, I was trying on a daily basis to speak to him. Trying to encourage him, trying to motivate him, and showing him that, things will work out. You will definitely come back home. So now that they are back, I think we'll continue the same trend, talking to each other every day, video calling, trying to tell him that, we'll be counting down actually the days on daily basis. I'll speak to him on daily basis and tell them that soon this will be over. Because he was saying that when he arrived this morning that, I can't wait for this to be over. Yeah. But we are back in South Africa. This is the first step. But I can't wait for this 21 days to be over. I'm like saying to him that, I will get there. Definitely will get there. This will end and you'll even forget that this happened. And I'm so excited. He was showing me his certificates during the week. He graduated and, life is good. I think he's looking forward also to, he achieved everything that he went there for. So it's really exciting.
All right.
Yes.
Nomfundo, thank you so very much for giving us your date and for being so open with us here on SABC News. We do indeed appreciate your time, and please do pass our regards to your son.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Okay, that's Nomfundo Motshabi, who's the mother of one of the students who was repatriated today from Wuhan in China. Well, religious